What if the king of pop didn't just die? What if he was silenced? Michael Jackson's death shocked the world, but beneath the headlines lies a deeper, darker story. A story of hidden symbols, secret powers, and a final message that may have cost him his life. You've heard the official version. But what if the truth has been buried all along? What you're about to uncover isn't just a theory. It's the side of Michael Jackson's story they never wanted you to hear. Whispers of Jackson's connection to this secretive group had been circulating for years, but they grew louder after his death. The Illuminati, a shadowy cabal rumored to control governments, media, and the entertainment industry, has long been a focal point for conspiracy theorists, and Jackson, the most iconic entertainer of his time, wasn't just a member of the industry, he was its crown jewel. If he tried to break free, or worse, expose what lay beneath, would that have made him a target? Michael had always used his music to speak out, but in his later years there was a shift. The lyrics weren't just socially conscious. They felt like warnings. They don't care about us. One of his most powerful songs is filled with anger and defiance. On the surface, it's about injustice and systemic oppression. But for those who listened closely, there were undertones of something deeper. A cry against invisible forces, against manipulation. He wasn't just calling out the world, he was calling out those pulling the strings behind it. Then there were the interviews. Michael rarely spoke out publicly, but when he did, he often hinted at a battle much bigger than anyone realized. He once said, "They want to silence me. They don't want the truth out." It wasn't just paranoia, it was fear. Genuine, visible fear. And he wasn't vague about feeling like a target. These weren't the ramblings of a fading star. They were the words of someone who knew he had said too much or was planning to. His battle with the music industry was another piece of the puzzle. In an unprecedented move, Jackson gained ownership of a massive catalog of publishing rights, including the Beatles' music. In a business dominated by moguls and media conglomerates, this level of independence was rare, threatening even. He was no longer just an artist. He had become a powerful businessman in an industry that prefers control. Some believe this made him a liability to those who operate from the shadows, a star who refused to be a pawn. Symbolism followed him throughout his career. All-seeing eyes, pyramids, and other arcane symbols appeared in music videos and stage performances. Critics chalked it up to artistic flair, but fans who followed his journey saw patterns. These weren't random visuals, they were deliberate. Whether they were a nod to those he once served or a method of silent protest remains unclear. But they fueled the belief that Michael was either once part of the machine or someone trying desperately to escape it. Perhaps the most damning piece of testimony came from his own sister. Just days after his death, LaToya Jackson publicly declared, "Michael was murdered. It was a conspiracy." Her conviction wasn't casual. She wasn't speculating. She seemed sure. And when someone from his inner circle, his family, makes such a claim, it stops being just fan fiction. It becomes a lead that demands attention. Other family members later echoed similar sentiments, describing how Michael had grown increasingly isolated, paranoid, and convinced that powerful people were out to get him. At the time of his death, he was preparing for what was billed as the greatest comeback in entertainment history, the This Is It tour. But what if it wasn't just a comeback? Some believe it was going to be a platform for revelation, a moment where Jackson would pull back the curtain and expose the underbelly of the industry. If true, that would have made him more than a threat. It would have made him dangerous. The kind of dangerous that powerful people don't tolerate. The tour never happened. The truth, if there was one, never made it to the stage. Instead, we got a documentary, edited and controlled by others, and a funeral watched by millions, filled with grief but void of answers. No concrete proof has ever emerged linking the Illuminati to Jackson's death. But for those who've spent years examining his lyrics, his symbolism, and his behavior in those final years, it's not about proof. It's about patterns, patterns too precise to ignore. Coincidences that feel more like puzzle pieces, questions that never got answers. Maybe he was just an overworked artist with a tragic addiction. Or maybe he was something more, a man who tried to warn us and paid the ultimate price. Either way, one truth remains. Michael Jackson didn't just leave behind music. He left behind a mystery, one that refuses to die.